So the New York Attorney General, to just add onto the bandwagon of trying to shut down political discourse, has brought a civil fraud suit against Donald Trump, the Trump Organization, his 3 children, his former CFO, and the current comptroller of the organization. And in addition to the $250 million penalties they want, they're also referring the case to the Department of Justice, or had referred the case to the Department of Justice for crime, criminal violations, and also to the IRS. So this is a big case has been instituted here, of course, right in the middle of a political season. And the ramifications of this are, and just what you got to ask yourself, why now, this moment, would they do this? There's been an investigation, I can tell you, it's been going on for years. But Letitia James, the Attorney General, ran on unseating Donald J. Trump. Ran on it, Logan.
Yeah, I mean, we have tweets from her that came out years ago. We have statements from her that came out years ago. Here's one directly. This is from, I'm going to find the exact days here, but it says, at Real Donald Trump, this is when he was still on Twitter, the days of defrauding Americans are coming to an end. I welcome the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance Inquiry and call on any agency with jurisdiction from the IRS to the New York AG to follow the facts. Whether they lead, no stone should be left unturned. Again, this is from October 3rd, 2018. And we have Rick Grenell joining us now.
So, Rick, this is the latest. We last week we're dealing with, you had the FBI and Department of Justice on the documents. Now we have Letitia James and the Attorney General of New York, who has been campaigning against Donald Trump for 5 years, and now comes up with this civil suit, of course, a month away from the midterm elections.
Of course, this is totally political. Everybody knows it's totally political. Letitia James has weaponized her office. She should be impeached because not a single New Yorker should be able to feel like Letitia James is out to find the facts and then prosecute the crimes. She's completely flipped it. She has decided to prosecute Donald Trump, and so therefore she's going back years to find anything that she can. This is an assault.
I mean, 12 years ago. Yes.
This is an assault on Donald Trump. It is clear that the Democrats are afraid that he's going to come back. They're weaponizing every single agency. Every American should be fearful because it's not really just about Donald Trump. It's about anyone who stands up to them and is effective enough and impactful enough to take them on. What the Democrats want are really nice Republicans who go along when they're defeated and who walk away when they're defeated. Donald Trump is a fighter. He fights back. They don't want him, so they are going to do what they can with the power of government, weaponize government, go after them with legal phony cases from years ago. This is not stopping. And let me just finish by saying this. Anyone who thinks that this is going to stop with future President Ron DeSantis or future President Ted Cruz, it is not stopping. They will be raided. They will be impeached multiple times. These people are reckless and using the weaponry of government against their political enemies and crushing dissent.
You know, Rick, I've been practicing law for 42 years, and I've done some of the highest profile cases, as you know, in the country, around the globe. I mean, I've done them at the ICC, the International Criminal Court in The Hague. I've done them at the European Court of Human Rights. I've been to the Supreme Court, 16, 18, 20, whatever it is now, 20 times. And I've handled some of the biggest investigations, including investigations of a president. And what I see is a continual pattern here. This reminds me, again, of allegations coming out from Bob Mueller and others. And then, of course, it takes us 2 years to prove the innocence, but they try to do reputational harm in the interim. Logan, you've got something.
Yeah, I mean, 5 years ago, this is what she was tweeting. We're digging into her tweets back to kind of show how long this game plan has been. And this was from October 16th, 2017. I've been leading the resistance against Donald Trump in New York City and will only continue to do so in every way possible. Hashtag New York City votes.
Yeah, hashtag, this is your unbiased prosecutor who's supposed to be, justice is blind. Not so much right now. I mean, Rick, the one fundamental that's really being harmed here from not just Donald Trump and his family, but for the entire country is political vendettas weaponized by legal systems. It's what happens in, countries that don't have a justice system. And it's happening here right now. And it happens to be it's the former president that they're going after on this. But the unrelenting nature of these attacks have one goal. She can't order him not to be president of the United States, but she can try to disqualify him if he decides to run. This is, it's so obvious that's what this is. And, of course, it's obvious that it's coming literally less than 4 weeks away, or 5 weeks away now, I guess, from the general election, midterm elections.
Well, look, let's also be clear. They've gone after Mike Lindell. They've gone after Steve Bannon. They've gone after a variety of Republicans who support Donald Trump. This is not just about Donald Trump. They are not stopping. Look, we just saw the credit card companies announce altogether a really collusion that they will start reporting on any American who buys ammo or guns. This is the weaponization of politics. It started with sanctuary cities, this little nice term where we were going to have cities that ignored laws, where left-wing politicians didn't agree with the law. And so that's an attack on the rule of law. That's a weaponization of the justice system by ignoring laws that you don't agree with. Now we find ourselves in the position where Trump Republicans, are being crushed by rogue prosecutors, the DOJ, the FBI. It's not going to stop with Donald Trump. He is just the one that's standing in the way. And I have to be very clear. We are going to see aggressive attorney generals going after other Americans who happen to be conservative. We've already seen it with big tech.
Rick, I've said this, that I think the most, and people ignore it, the attorney general of the state can sometimes be the most powerful political force in that state. And we have to be cognizant of that. Now, I will tell you this. If you look at what's happening in Fulton County with the DA there, that case may end up becoming the lead case. Now you've got Letitia James in New York sending this over to the Department of Justice and to the IRS. They've been investigating this for years. She made all these anti-Trump statements. All this comes into play, and you think to yourself, geez, when does this end? But here's the truth. Like you said, this is the nature of the way the law is being enforced right now. And I wanted to say this to all of our listeners or people that are watching us on our social media applications. You understand that when a case like this is coming and the person prosecuting it said this, take a listen to her statement. This is now the person prosecuting Donald Trump. Listen.
In addition to that, the Office of Attorney General will continue to follow the money because we believe that he's engaged in a pattern and practice of money laundering the money from foreign governments here in New York State, and particularly related to his real estate holdings. It's important that everyone understand that the days of Donald Trump are coming to an end.
Rick, this is when she's running for office. And by the way, there's no allegation in here about foreign money, just to be clear, from what I've seen so far. But go ahead, Rick.
No, she just makes up things to be able to get Democrats to give her money and to further a political agenda. But let's also be very clear about one thing, Jay. We used to have a system where we did have rogue prosecutors and rogue politicians overreaching. But the check and the balance was the media. The Washington Post would mock them. They would say you've overreached. There would be a reaction from normal, everyday reporters in newsrooms. CNN or AP would blunt them. It didn't matter if they were Republicans or Democrats. But today, now, there's a cheerleading newsroom. They are every time that the Democrats go after the Republicans, no matter what, there's a roar of the crowd from the newsroom. There's no check. And so what happens is the Democrats keep overreaching because there's no pushback.
But listen,
there's not a single pushback.
Yeah, well, Rick, I'm going to play this. This is an interview with the Letitia James. Take a listen to this. This is number 49.
And what would you say to people who say, oh, I'm not going to bother to register to vote because my voice doesn't make a difference, or I'm just one person?
I say one name, Donald Trump. That should motivate you. Get off your ass and vote.
Will you sue him for us?
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the ass. He's going to know my name personally.
I love it.
He's going to know my name personally. We're going to sue him. I'm going to be a pain in his bleep. This is the Attorney General of the state of New York.
She was clear and honest about it, and there was no pushback from the media. There was just laughter and celebratory actions from the media, which meant she was encouraged to keep doing it. Other politicians were encouraged to jump in on it because she was making money and getting publicity, and the media didn't try to stop her. They've become partisan players, the media, and they are literally a threat to democracy.
No question. Rick, we appreciate it. Thanks for being part of our team. Rick is Senior Advisor for National Security and Foreign Policy, also the former Director of National Intelligence.